qualifier, Kazuya Taguchi. Mike Power qualifying 16th. He went against Adam LZ earlier. Unfortunately, Adam LZ did not hit the necessary zones. Mike Power did and came out on top. So Taguchi waits on the start line. I can see Mike Power off in the distance, leaving that pedal commander burnout box. We got the 86 with that GTR engine under the hood. Mike Power coming over, that MA Motorsports Power Racing Type S, the sinister black with the barbed wire. Black on black, ready to attack. The Up Garage ISR Performance 86 already on the start line. Let's see how Kazuya Taguchi, our #1 qualifier, handles Mike Power. And we are ready to send it for our first battle of the Royal Purple Top 16. The lights are on. The track is still hot as the sun has set off in the distance. The gateway to the west. See at the crossroads. This is round 5 of the Formula 0 Pro Championship. Kazuya Taguchi coming into that first outside zone. Mike Power not getting all the way into that first outside zone. Kazuya Taguchi does. Now into the outside zone 2. You see Kazuya using all the course. Mike Power taking a bit of a shallower line. The Type S lights are glowing underneath into that third outside zone. And now the final and fourth outside zone. Taguchi putting that GT radial tire, the back right properly in, the left just a bit kind of riding the inside or right on top of that line and that outside zone box.
Looked like Mike Power wasn't putting his car quite in the right place there in the chase position. So let's watch from the sky view here. You can see that Taguchi is in outside zone #1. Power is not. He's outside the box. Same thing goes for outside zone #2. Now Taguchi was not deep into, but Mike Power was nowhere near it. I don't think Mike Power got a tire in outside zone 3, whereas Taguchi was somewhat in it there. And then Taguchi does a pretty good job through 4, while Mike Power is well inside there as well. I don't think Mike Power got into any of the outside zones potentially in the chase position, so that's not really looking good for him in a comparative sense now. We don't know how Taguchi's going to do, but Taguchi has a very easy job now in the chase position because he doesn't have a whole lot to overcome in terms of a chase mimic a chase line. He might have an easier time here just because of the lines that Mike Power laid down in his chase position.
Yeah, like you said, just a little shallow. Could have been deeper, mimicking that angle. All of those elements combined, but overall, we'll see how this 2J powered S15 throws down Kazuya Taguchi. Give himself a bit of distance, a bit of run up. And remember, that lead car it can only leave until the lights extinguish. You can see him right in between the drivers. The chase car can leave that start line. You'll see them kind of roll into it to pace themselves to make sure. And Kazuya does a really good job. Look at that. Tip to tail, initiates. Could have been a little closer there, but just as I say that, now coming into that second outside zone. Kazuya Taguchi ducks through that smoke. Good job out front by Mike Power. That 2J powered S15. Now coming on into that final outside zone. That's what you're talking about. So Mike Power did a really good job, but Kazuya Taguchi, I think, with dropping into formation as opposed to kind of nosing in proximity, where do the judges stand as far as proximity or pocket? Like, you know, mimicking the angle, or it's kind of hard to dissect, but your elaboration as you watch this.
Yeah, if you look at where he's going to place his car here on initiation, he's almost on the same line as Mike Power. He's definitely closer than Power was to his. And then if you look at outside zone 2, he's definitely right in the pocket. He's in the proper positioning there. Of course, he could be slightly closer, but if you compare his great line and maybe a car and a half width there away from the lead car compared to Mike Power's further distance and further inside line as well, what Taguchi is doing here is definitely what we're looking for comparatively. Of course, neither one of them was 100% ideal, but I think Taguchi did a much better job in the chase position of mimicking Mike Power's lead line and combining that with a decent amount of proximity as well.
Right. Proximity, mimicking that angle as well, and I think unfortunately with Mike going really shallow into the outside zone 2, that's just been such a true indicator, because again, going 2 to 4, that flow into 3 overall, that really kind of threw Mike Power off. And you know, just Mike Power carrying momentum from a couple years ago and winning at Irwindale. Would love to see him just, you know, really find that sweet spot. Don't know if he's really hit his stride. I know he's kind of right there. He's right on that cusp, but unfortunately right now is not.
Hopefully they've had enough of that so far.
Yep, try to keep it clean. Keep it clean, boys. Let's see some good runs. Oop, and false start. All right, looks like Fetty jumped the light. Federico, lovingly Fetty for short.
Strike one.
Strike one. Both these guys on Nexen tires, I believe. The Formula Drift Gantry, our 2022 championship. As you can see, our start line next year, celebrating 20 years the Formula Drift Championship. What all kicked off as an idea, as a fad here. Say that jokingly. Obviously not a fad. Growing worldwide. Formula Drift, the premier international drifting sanctioning body. Here we go, leaving that start line. Federico Sharifo into that first outside zone. Yves Meyer spins out.
Whoa.
And Yves
What
Meyer,
happened there?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know. Fetty does have to finish this run. That back left just with that trippy Italian flag on the spokes. Don't know what happened to Yves Meyer. I will say that I saw some fluid come off the back of Fetty's car.
Right?
Yeah, when he went to initiate, I saw kind of a splash. And I did see that at the end of his run while he's waiting. It looks like just either the radiator or something's flowing.
Where's he going? He's just going the long way around.
Yeah, I don't.
If he's going back to his.
He might be having an issue, but like to know if he's got it.
Oh, there we go. Now we're turning around. So generally, the drivers turn around at that red cone over there, as Yves Meyer just did.
Let's take a look at the replay. So you saw the same thing I did?
I did. Yeah,
that
I saw
kind of splash.
Potentially, it was fuel coming out of the vehicle, but it's hard to tell.
Let's see a difference.
Right there. Right there.
Whoa.
Wow, that was a snap the other way so quickly.
Yeah.
I don't even know what would cause that.
Yeah, that
Maybe lifting off the throttle, gripping real fast, the car rotates. Not sure. Maybe we can get the replay. Yeah, there we go.
So watch this. Splash. See that?
Yeah.
That back left. And that could very easily, but yeah, when you go
Why would you spin that way, though? If something was on the ground slippery, the car would have rotated.
But when he goes to flick the other way, I don't know.
So early for the transition. He was mid outside zone 1 when that happened. So I'm not sure what would have caused that spin.
Yeah, I think everybody saw the fluids come off the back. The question is, what was it? All right, so yeah, everybody saw it, but nothing is on the track.
Yeah.
And I definitely would, you know, I'd love for Yves to say, like, hey, what happened?
What occurred there?
Did it feel slick, or was it just a total bonk?
Right. Did your car turn off and the car gripped and spun, or what? I don't even know. Grip and spin that quickly.
See, look at all that.
That's probably water.
I mean, it's got to be water
system.
from the cooling.
He has a rear rat in that thing. You can see the air scoop above the rear window there. Okay. Very good.
That thing is dripping quite a bit. I mean.
Yeah, and Yves not raising any concerns either, so
all right.
This would be an opportunity for him to say something at this point.
Right. And we did see that, but you know what? Hey, guess what? Fetty finished out the run, Yves Meyer, so this will unfortunately be a deficit for Yves Meyer from Switzerland. Let's see what Yves got. He needs to throw down a heck of a run, and he needs Fetty to have a mistake in that chase position. Lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Yves Meyer now coming to that second outside zone. A little bit short, Fetty, very short, but it seems like he's doing a good job in that pocket. And on that third outside zone, an early transition into outside zone 4, but does salvage it a bit now. Keep in mind, Yves Meyer did spin. Fetty finished out the run.
That's correct.
So, you know, unfortunately for Yves, it was over just as it began, and that hurts. That hurts because this is Yves Meyer. He's in the 16, but looks like unofficially, you know, he'll be going out.
I believe Federico, this is the furthest that he will have made it if he wins this battle right now.
Okay.
In competition. So looking at Yves Meyer, he does get into outside zone 1, whereas Federico does not. Outside zone 2, Yves gets in and leaves it very quickly. And like you said, Federico is a little further inside, but then gets on the same line as they go through outside zone number 3. In the lead position there, Yves transitions nicely into 4, and Federico transitions slightly early, but manages to finesse the car back into outside zone 4. So Yves isn't in the beginning of zone 1 there, but you can see he works his way into it. I guess the line that he was taking at initiation didn't allow him to get in early, but worked his way there. And then in outside zone 3, they both did a decent job there. Federico was probably a little bit inside, and then Federico transitions a little bit earlier there, but does get into outside zone 4.
Triple F drifting department, Pennzoil Lubricants, Fiorella Ferrari, and looks like Yves Meyer jumping out, and he's saying, look at this thing drip. So now it seems that he's pointing it out. He's saying, what is this? Obviously, you know, body language here. He's pointing out what we're seeing, and you called it out, Ryan. You said, hey, this is an opportunity for him. You know, why is he spinning? And obviously, you know, you're not allowed to use, you know, coolant or water wetter. Let's take a look at it again. Why did he go right?
I can't fathom why the car would go right. I don't.
Because he's just going.
I guess if the front washes out, maybe, but then grips after. I don't.
It seemed like he would go flick it in and then he'd spin to the left.
Because he's already set. The car's already set. See, it's set, and then all of a sudden,
it just whips. Yeah, his front wheels, he couldn't.
But the front of his car was nowhere near the back of Federico's car at that point in time. Like if you look at where the front of, it's like this, right? The back of the car is in the zone. The water would technically be in the zone, and the front of Yves' car is way out of the zone. So I don't see how, if there was water on the ground, how that would even affect it. So that's not really jiving for me, really, but I don't know.
It seemed uncharacteristic, but at the same time, we've seen crazier things. Trying to find out what's going on.
The only thing I could see is that power wasn't being supplied to the rear tires anymore. The car would straighten, and then, I don't know. We're getting a different explanation here from maybe a spotter.
Shout out to my wife, Stephanie, and Kim and Josh, and Andrew and Carmen, and Parker and Tyson, Colin, Charlie, watching at home. Love you guys. See you soon. Enjoying the 50-50 vibes, and right now, wondering what's going on here. So taking a look at the tail of the tape, we're running it back here, and it looks like we do have a verdict. So going to Federico Sharifo, 2-1. So Fedi does get the win, and as you said, this could potentially be the furthest, or it is the furthest that Federico has advanced in Formula Drift competition. But Federico will be Kazuya Taguchi. Now let's go on to the head Drift Caveman. This is the Drift Cave boss, Matt Field, piloting his Falcon Tires Boiler Exhaust Corvette. Jeff Jones trying to give a run for his money, but unfortunately Evo Auto Works Nissan 370Z does spin out, and Matt Field continues on into that final outside zone. And Jeff Jones still pushes, but he knows he spun out. That will be, unfortunately, a deficit for Jeff Jones. But Matt Field, the guy to beat, he's got the target on his back. But right behind him, Frederick Osbo, he's got the star on his back.
Yeah, that error that he made there wasn't quite a full spin. You could see that he got it to a little bit more angle, got back on throttle, and kind of worked his way through it there. So as he transitions here, he doesn't have the momentum. You can see he over-rotates, get back on throttle, almost straightens. So it's this very awkward situation that happened with his car there, and it's got no bearing whatsoever on what Matt Field did in the lead. No. Matt Field was doing his own thing there, and it just looks like Jeff potentially, no, couldn't be lost in the smoke. It was well beyond that. I think it was just rotating the car at the wrong time,
The car
not having
gripped
the
up. It
momentum.
seemed like he threw it in and
It wouldn't go out wide
Yeah.
to outside zone number 2. So not ideal placement from Jeff Jones there. He's lucky that he didn't spin or straighten completely. It was definitely, if that was in a lead position, that would absolutely be unchaseable. But in the chase position, it's a huge deficit for him. In the chase, he right now is going to have to hope for Matt Field to make an error like that or bigger in his chase run. And at the same time, Jeff is going to have to run a comparable lead run to what Matt Field put down.
Jeff does have it in him. I know he does, and love Jeff's style, his tenacity. Just relentless is a nickname that Ryan gave him a long time ago, and it's really stuck not only as a nickname but also just a mindset, and consistently having fun, dancing, you know, just all of those things really contribute to Jeff Jones' program. And I really encourage, you know, not just towards Jeff, but Jeff right now, a lot of eyeballs. Would love for more companies to support, you know, privateers and teams like that. I mean, essentially, you know, you have teams of different degrees, but people like Jeff Jones are definitely a great testimonial to kind of for the love of the game and progression and professionalism and bring it on up and having fun. Here we go. So Jeff Jones out front, Matt Field in that chase position. Look at that. And Jeff Jones barely dipping that back right tire, and Matt Field getting aggressive in that chase position. Man, he was absolutely just buried in that smoke. Now coming through that final outside zone, Jeff Jones' car producing so much smoke. Just his wheel speed just cranking it out. Looks like he stopped by the spirit store and grabbed a smoke machine. Doing a really good job.
Yeah,
Formerly a Bath and Body Works, those spirit stores, you know. But let's take a look at it again. Let's run it back, as they say.
He is definitely not afraid of the throttle. You can see that in his performance. So good initiation from Jeff. Comes out of outside zone 1, but Matt Field's on a tighter line there. And let's see here through outside zone 2. Jeff does miss outside zone number 2, and, well, Matt Field follows him. So, of course, his line's going to be off there as well. I think Matt's doing a better job here of mimicking what Jeff is doing in the lead. Jeff does get into outside zone 2 a little bit earlier, but Matt Field gets in there and joins him as well.
All right, let's see the outcome of this run. You can see Jeff just coming up a bit short. Fills that third outside zone. You see him quick little shimmy into that third outside zone. Matt didn't exactly tuck in on that final outside zone, but he's got to get involved. All right, slide him left for Field or right for Jones. And Matt Field does get the win. A good effort there by Jeff Jones, I think.
From you guys.
Well, congratulations, Federico Sharifo, as we move on. Colin and Andrew, I know you're watching from Riverside, California. Here we go. Odie Bakshis and Nick Novak. A little swing in front of Odie Bakshis. Nick Novak, that Coro Works BMW. Now throwing it into that second outside zone. Odie Bakshis, very uncharacteristic in that chase position. Looks unsettled, but Nick Novak throwing it down. Odie Bakshis going off course. What is going on with Odie? But Novak, regardless, out front is running a strong game.
Wow.
So I can't remember. I don't think Odie's called a comp timeout. He shut it down. He shut it down.
Oh, no, he did call a comp timeout.
Did he?
He bumped into somebody earlier in the front right. They had to check it. You remember?
That's right. He did. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I did not take note of that because, yeah, Odie went against Reeder. He did call that comp timeout. Yep. And he says, I need to be 100% at going against Reeder.
Right.
And he did. So
they checked that front right.
Right. Well, he changed his tires, changed his fronts.
So let's look at. Here we go. We've got the initiation. Odie had a hesitation there going to outside zone 1. Didn't fill it like Nick did. And then right there, Nick has a bit of a bobble, but Odie has a much bigger one that I don't think was caused by Nick's. And then, was that 3 wheels off for Odie? That might have been 3 off for Odie in the chase there through outside zone number 3. We're going to have to look at that again. Hopefully we can see through the smoke whether or not that was 3 wheels off.
Yeah, that's... All right, so a very crazy turn of events. Looked like, I mean, just how much dirt was being thrown up. We'll run that back. Right now, we're going to finish out the second half of this battle. But how loose Odie is very, very surprising. That's very uncharacteristic of Odie Bakshi's. But guess what? Nick Novak could enter into the Great 8 for the first time. So another newcomer. We're talking about Matt Field going against Odie like it's definitive. But guess what? Nope, not today. It's not Novak, it's Yes back. Come on, bring it back. As Odie Bakshi's goes in that first outside zone. Looks a lot more settled here. Now, oh no, Nick Novak dives in on the inside. He grips up and takes that line. That's what we're talking about. That's what Jeff Jones did. Now in that third outside zone. But now I believe those three wheels going off will come into play. And now, again, Nick not hitting that second outside zone, not hitting that fourth outside zone. That could hurt him. But the big indicator here is just Odie Bakshi's on that first run. Lead versus lead, chase versus chase. That's what we're analyzing.
Yes, it is, Jared.
I just, you know, I want to be cognizant of, you know, you being here in the announcer's booth. Want to make sure that, you know, you have the opportunity to analyze and really focus on what your task at hand is. And it's your priority is judging and not announcing. I'm going to go ahead and you don't need to elaborate. You kind of go ahead and sit and meld with it, and you think in your own head, because I know Brian and Chris, they're analyzing, and I'm looking over your guys' shoulders. You haven't chosen anything, so I'm just generically talking about the run and what I see, not trying to steer in any direction, not trying to give any sort of clarification of what's going on, other than Nick Novak filled that outside zone. This was the lead run of Nick Novak, so we're really focusing on this. Again, Novak gets out of the second zone. Watch Odie Bakshi's. So that's a 1, that's a 2, and that's 3 off. That front left was off. That's an incomplete.
Yep.
So it was very clear, and it's very unlike Odie. That's why I'm just as shocked. And you know, we saw it earlier. You know, we saw in Robert Thorne. We saw that earlier with you know, TLO going off, Robert Thorne going off, and now here is Odie Bakshi's, who, you know, second in the championship overall in previous years, going for the championship this year again. But Nick Novak gets the victory. Novak advances on into Wataru Masuyama will lead. Dean Carnage Carney giving chase. Wataru Masuyama, the Buy Now Japan S15, into that first outside zone, the HyperNFT.io Dodge Viper. Into that second outside zone. It seems like the chase drivers are just gripping up and catching just the wrong line, unfortunately, in that chase position. Every lead run, we've seen the chase driver just grip up.
Yeah, that transition ends up being a little too early, and the momentum dies down, and they can't get the car all the way out to outside zone 2 to follow. And it's not everybody. You know, we've had a couple of good chases through there, but it's happening pretty often, I'd say, you know?
Yeah, it's just a surprising turn of events,
or
no turn of events.
Hey.
Wataru Masuyama, let's look at it again.
Nice flick to initiation for Masuyama. Is in the zone, and then you can see in the chase there, Carney does work his way into the zone, but transitions way too early there. Doesn't have the momentum to get to outside zone 2, whereas Masuyama did get out to it. And then Masuyama runs through 3. Carney does a better job in 3, and then does not get into outside zone 4, but does get into proximity there by making a compromise on line through outside zone 4. So as we look at it from a different view, you can see the proximity is not great right there. Dean does cut the line quite a bit there, gains a bit of proximity, but Masuyama had been on throttle earlier than him because of his better line through there, so it does start to pull away. Dean does sacrifice line again in 4 and does get a little bit closer, but you know, he did make some sacrifices to get there.
Now let's alternate the positions. Dean Carnage Carney will lead. I have a feeling Dean's going to go for it again. He knows that he had that major mistake. He saw Masuyama on the left-hand side of him, quite a bit of distance away, and that's going to, I think, really create a fire in the cockpit of that Dodge Viper. HyperNFT.io, we got a clean start. Here comes that Dodge Viper of Dean Carnage Carney into that first outside zone. Want to see a different angle from that. Didn't see exactly if he was within that outside zone. He does drag that back left. Now into the third outside zone, really locking that in. Now Masuyama not too far behind him. And Masuyama did a good job mimicking his line. And Masuyama, look at this. He's advanced. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Easy now,
sorry,
Jared.
but I'm not just knee-jerk
Jumping
reaction.
to conclusions.
I'm not jumping to conclusions. I'm just
walking to conclusions.
What-
Stepping.
Sure. Hip hopping, skipping. Gosh.
You can see that in the lead position there, Carney's not filling outside zone 1, but Masuyama is mimicking his line. You can see there, Dean leaves outside zone 2 a little early. Masuyama's right there with him. Good proximity, good mimic on line, good mimic on angle as well. So as they come through zone number 2, you can see that Masuyama's right in that sweet spot. Falls back slightly there for zone 3, but that's expected through that area. And then as they transition, Masuyama's right on the same line and follows Dean Carney everywhere that he goes. So great job from Masuyama.
And the only reason I say jumping to conclusions or saying that Masuyama gets the win, as I see you type some things in, or I'm looking over your shoulders, it was blaringly obvious that Masuyama, unfortunately, Masuyama didn't make that large of mistakes compared to Dean Carnage Carney. So
yeah,
if it's blatantly obvious, I'm. Here we go with this next battle, Ken Gucci, Jonathan Hurst. So Ken Gucci will lead, Jonathan Hurst giving chase. Ken Gucci through that start chicane. Initiating into that first outside zone.
Oh, contact.
Who's at fault? I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe, could we consider that a collision? I think that we can, That's the level above contact. So we have a couple of different. Ooh, that looks like that looks way worse than we thought on first look there. There are different levels of cars touching each other. There's contact, which is just they touched each other and they moved on and everything's fine. A collision, we need a statement of fault from the judges. So this is definitely going to be one of those situations. As we look at these beautiful drone footage that we have here, we're going to get a great view of what occurred at initiation.
Wow.
So that impact happened almost right at the beginning of the zone. So that decel zone ends right at the beginning of the zone, and that's almost where it happened. You could see that was still kind of, that collision was on its way to happening at the beginning of the zone, and it occurred just beyond the beginning of outside zone number 1. So it's good that we have a couple of different views on this. It's going to give us a couple of perspectives. And
yeah, that was quite a big contact. Unfortunate for Ken Gucci. Looks like he sustained a bit more damage. We will see.
So front left suspension potentially is damaged, or are they going to let him drive away? No, they're flatbedding him off. So it looks like potentially that is serious damage to the front left of Ken Gucci. All right, so we're going to see this from the drone once again. Let's look at the momentum of Ken Gucci.
Yeah, this is a tough one to dissect.
Sure,
I'm just going to lay
one.
out. You guys go and elaborate on it.
So as we look at the initiation here,
yeah, and Ryan, we've instituted decel sensors and decel lights.
yeah, we have lights on the windshield that will light up if the car is
Look at the smile still
decelling.
with Gucci. Still sees it. Ken Gucci still has such a great spirit. Sorry, he's saying sorry.
All right.
The Ken Gucci Motorsports Toyota GR86 taking a look
All right,
at
here
this
we go.
right now. So
Looking for that decel light on the windshield right there, and then it turns off, and then the impact happens. So the decel light comes on when a certain threshold is met, and that is a decel, a certain amount of speed lost over a short amount of distance. So you can see the decel light coming on in the decel area. It turns off at the beginning of the zone, which is perfect. And you can see that in the chase position, it looks like, after watching this a few times, it just looks like Hurst in the chase position isn't adapting to what the lead car is doing. The lead car is allowed to decel in that area, and then they are to get back on throttle at the beginning of the zone. But it didn't look like Ken Gucci had the chance to get back on throttle by the time he got hit. So there has to be an understanding there that the lead car is allowed to decel, get the car set, and then get back on throttle by the beginning of the zone. And you can see there that There was a slight flash from Hurst's decel light. You can see it in the windshield there, just before impact. But maybe there should have been more, potentially. Yeah, this is one of those tricky situations. So now we're going to have to assess fault. They're still working on getting Gushi's car off the track, as there is a brake in the front left, a suspension components there. So Gushi's car is being towed off. Once we get that car off, then we will assess fault, and we will see then at that point, whoever is not at fault will have 10 minutes to look at their car. If the other driver, the one that is considered at fault, wants to look at their car, they then have to call a competition timeout. Once the 10 minutes elapses for the vehicle that is not at fault, if they're not done fixing their car, they can then call a competition timeout if they need an extra 5 minutes.
So total of 15,
Total of 15, potentially.
Once they get hands on the car, who's not at fault, 15. But yeah, we'll see. It seems like Gushi caught the majority of the damage here. So we'll see. Competition, there's more tires to be burned. Dylan Hughes will lead. Royal Purple, Riley Auto Parts, Falcon Tire, BMW. Got the 2J under the hood, the LS of Rome Charpentier, trying to give that modern hell, as his wing says. Now in the second outside zone, Dylan Hughes does a good job. Rome Charpentier, you can see him nice and close. Has to back off just a little bit. And now into that last and final outside zone. Does get those tires into that and beyond that last outside zone.
That transition from the flat portion to the bank, sometimes it looks so rough.
It looks violent.
It looks rough, but the tires all stay on and everything seems fine. So here we go, Ken Gushi being backed off the flatbed, and they'll get his fix started soon. As we watch the replay here from above, Dylan gets the car initiated nicely, and you see Rome there just slightly inside in the chase position. As they transition to number 2, you can see that Rome is a little bit inside, kind of gets a little close there and backs off slightly, has a little hesitation, and as they transition to outside zone number 4, that's where Dylan dipped the tire quickly off the track. And looking here at outside zone 1 to outside zone 2 again, right there, Rome, he's there, he's in, he's out a little bit, and then he's back in again. Going to outside zone 3, pretty good job for both of them, but there is a gap established there between the two of them. And right there, Rome does not really fill outside zone 4. He gets in close and then has a tighter line through the majority of outside zone 4.
Rome pulls his way up to the start line. And like I said, Rome has just gained, and Dylan, I mean, there's just so many drivers that, I mean, like I said, look at how this grade 8 is forging. Taguchi, Federico, Field, Novak, Masuyama, and either Hughes or Rome. The final bracket, that bracket of death is being branded the Turk and Osbo battle. That's up next. Okay, Rome Charpentier going across the nose of Hughes, and Hughes tucked in really tight. Wow, doctor, look at that. Now into that second outside zone. Rome really deep in that second outside zone, but cannot shake Dylan Hughes. Now Dylan transitions into that last outside zone. That was a good move. I want to see that overhead perspective. It looks fantastic. It looks like a little dance with the vehicles and the drone, but we need to see exactly where that car was placed in that outside zone.
Yeah, that zippy drone looks awesome. But let's look at this overhead view right here. I want to see the initiation. You can see there that Rome did his little flick, and Dylan took a chance and stayed nice and close, and he had to kind of get out of his way there, and it didn't hurt him on outside zone 1, but Dylan did not fill outside zone 2 behind Rome. And then right here, Dylan's nice and close as they come around outside zone 3. Outside zone 4, you can see Dylan transitions at the same time as Rome, but is not on the same line. So he's off of outside zone 4 ever so slightly there. Outside zone 4 looked amazing. Dylan did transition. He had to get out of Rome's way, though, so he could transition and then put him on a different line than Rome because he had stayed close for so long. But outside zone 3, nicely done. Transitions a little early for 4, and then we get that really fancy, spinny, zippy drone footage there. Really great run by both drivers. Yeah,
just again getting all those perspectives, doing a great job with all the coverage. Thank you to our production team, just getting all the angles from the eye in the sky down on the ground, getting the FPVs, just showing you all different perspectives from the comfort of your own home or if you're here in the building. So let's look at our BC Racing side by side. Go for gold. Who's going for gold? Who's moving on?
All right, one eyeball on each one of these screens right now. looking at which driver is going to be putting their car in the right place, lead and chase. A lot of it looks pretty similar. Dylan definitely has more proximity throughout the run, whereas Rome in his chase had to make some sacrifices to gain that proximity, and he didn't have it for a lot of the run.
All right, we got hands on, or I don't, but the Threes racing team does. The Ken Gucci Racing, you can see Ken's even got his hands on the vehicle. He's outside of the car. So 10 minutes, you can see that 7:30 in the back. That's the 10 minutes because you say that Jonathan Hurst was at, or what? Sorry, who's at fault?
Yes, Jonathan Hurst was considered at fault for that situation, which gives Ken Gucci the full 10 minutes. That's not involved in his competition timeout. That is a freebie 10-minute. Here you go.
All right, do we have a verdict? Dylan Hughes, Rome Charpentier, and we got one for Dylan, and Haynes chasing him down. The Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota GR Supra, two-time champ, Frederick Osbo. Ryan Turk goes in that first outside zone. Frederick Osbo tucks nice and tightly in behind that middle tire smoke into that second outside zone. And Frederick Osbo cannot be shaken right there. The gold nose up in the door of that Toyota GR Corolla. Final outside zone, both of them overcooking.
Was
there
contact there?
Question. That was a question. That's not a statement. Was.
Yes, I think there was contact. It looked like maybe Osbo bumped the back of Ryan and sent him off the track. So we're going to have to see how serious that bump was, or if that was simply Ryan Turek getting off track on his own. But it did look like there was a bump. There is some damage to the back of the car. So let's have a look at the replay that our good friends down on the ground are going to set up for us right now. That was exciting. All right, looking at this from the drone up in the sky. Look at how close Osbo is right here, but I'd love to see the angle that Turek ran around that outside zone 2. But right there, you've got Osbo right with him, not letting him get away. As they transition right here, boom.
Looks like he nicked him. That nose, that Supra nose, which Matt Field is so familiar with. It looked like, from my eyes and my perception, what I see in front of me, it looks like the Toyota Supra just barely nicked the back end of that Toyota Corolla. And you got to think, Osbo looks like he does take a shallower line here, by the way. He does exceed the front end of that Toyota Corolla. Now let's look at it again.
So right here is where the hit's going to happen, right there. So it looks light, but it's enough to send Turek off, and you can see the damage on the back bumper there.
Look at the front right bumper of Osbo.
And then the front right, there's damage on both cars in those areas.
So it's the right nostril, not so much the tip of the nose, it's the right nostril of the nose of the Supra.
Osbo needs a little rhinoplasty on that car, maybe to shorten it up a little bit. Maybe it's a little too big and he's not comfortable with how long it is.
Lifting that front right tire, look at the grip. And there might have been contact there. Watch
right,
so,
boom. Yeah. And phenomenal placement, though, up until that point.
Yeah, I mean, Osbo knows who he's going against here. Let's take a look. Right there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, you got to think right behind that front right bumper, or the front right nose, the corner, and how short that bumper hang. We always talk about the Corolla.
Sure.
And Frederick Osbo's very familiar with that car because that car, you know, obviously he piloted that vehicle before Ryan Turk. So, yeah, so you know.
Seconds, the guys are still working, and they do have the 5-minute competition timeout left.
Here we go, back to the second half of this battle. Frederick Osbo now in front. Ryan Turk in chase position into the first outside zone. How are they going to handle the second outside zone? Will Ryan Turk chase him down? Osbo gets all the way out there, so does Ryan Turk. Now the twin Toyotas going to that third outside zone, and this is where the contact was made in that fourth outside zone. Looks like Ryan Turk kicks back a little bit, does not get all the way out to the outside zone, comes up a bit short. Was that calculated? Did he say, like, look, I don't need to apply the pressure so much? Who's at fault, and was fault deemed? We don't know because neither of them put hands on the car, so that was never deemed who was at fault because neither of them went towards the pits. Am I correct in saying that, Ryan?
You are correct in saying that. We have not made it public, so to speak, who we consider at fault. The three judges, we didn't really even talk about it at all. You and I have been talking the whole time, so I'm not even sure if they discussed it. But looking at this replay right now, you see Ryan Turek nice and close, mimicking Osbo's line really well there. Does a pretty good job through outside zone 2 as well. Of course, Osbo's putting together a great lead run. In the chase position there, Turek does fall back a little bit through here. Doesn't quite have the proximity, and he does run a slightly tighter line. through that outside zone 4 area. So he does have the proximity at the beginning of the track. You can see here Ryan's real close to Frederick as they come through outside zone 1. Right there, they kind of fall off a little bit. Turek's now on a slightly, no, he's on the same line there, but then falls back right here. This is where Osbo was very, very close to Ryan. And as they transition here, Turek is back a little bit and is making a compromise there to try to gain some proximity by being inside a little bit. But I think after what happened in run 1, if you put the blame on Osbo, as I do, it looks like Ryan may have an advantage here.
And this really shakes things up. Remember, Frederick Osbo second in points coming to this round of competition. Ryan Turek sitting in 4th. And here we're on the 16. Who's moving on into the 8? Ryan Turek, Frederick Osbo, the Rockstar Toyotas, both on Nitto tires, and Ryan Turek unanimously gets the win. BMWs, one 2J powered, one LS powered, and one moving on. Who's going against Ryan Turek in the Great 8? Hughes or Charpentier? Approaching that second outside zone. Good proximity by Rome in that chase position. Dylan Hughes using all the course. Dylan going a little bit deeper. Good fluid line. A little shimmy to get into that second outside zone, or excuse me, third outside zone. And then finally, Rome, good proximity. Wasn't as deep, but good in the pocket. Almost succeeding a little bit, but overall a great line.
Love that view, Jared. I think that Rome did a much better chase run here than he did on the first battle. In terms of proximity, he was there, but he was much better mimicking the line that Dylan was laying down in the lead. So I think that's a huge improvement from Rome. He did dive in slightly there and then get back online, but overall I think he did much better. In the lead position, it looked like Dylan put a great lead run down, didn't surpass the course boundaries there in outside zone 4. But if you look at where Rome is, he's within proximity. He's mimicking probably about 90% of Dylan's lead line, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to mimic that line while maintaining that proximity. So right there through outside zone 2 is the only place I really saw him make that compromise in a serious way. And as he comes to outside zone 4 here, does a pretty good job, maybe a little bit inside there as well. So in the chase position, ooh, 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. We are seeing the torque wrench out. That means he's throwing lug nuts on it, and 30 seconds for Ken Gucci. Again, 10 minutes, and look at that. We are getting all hands on deck here. 20 seconds. It looks like he should be good to go.
This is down to the wire.
Yeah, this is down to the wire. It looks like race tape. They just need to drop it down, and aesthetic-wise, it looks like it'll be okay. And Ken Gucci throwing on his sparkle gloves. All right. And there is back to there. We are seeing Rome Charpentier back in that lead position. This is run 2 of the One More Time battle. And I do agree. I think Rome had a less chaotic chase run there. It seemed just a little smoother. And that just comes with experience. Knowing who you're going against, and you just calm the nerves. And now Rome, aggressive flip, but Dylan Hughes quickly gets to the side of that E36. It looks like Dylan not as aggressive as well. So it looks like they learned something from that first battle. And remember, Dylan was really aggressive on the outside zone 4. Let's see how he handles this. Looks like he lets him go, and then, oh boy.
Rome was off the track and starting to spin, and Dylan was right there. That's my initial view of what happened. But it looked like Rome was already rotating off the track. He was 2 wheels off, and you had Dylan coming in, you know, trying to maintain proximity through the last, because everybody wants to put an exclamation point on their chase run in outside zone 4, and that's exactly what Dylan was doing. And he didn't anticipate Rome in the lead position there, over-rotating the car, going 2 wheels off, and kind of parking right in front of him in that error that he made. And you could see that Dylan put his car right in the side of Rome's and did considerable damage there. And neither one of them is moving, so potentially they have some damage that won't allow them to move. Let's look at the replay here. Dylan did a great job of mimicking the line there from Rome early on. Dylan had a kind of an awkward transition, but did get back online, got back in proximity, and you can see there a little bobble from both of them. And then as they transition here, watch Rome's car. Look, I don't think he was going to be able to save that. It looked like the car was rotating pretty heavily, and Dylan got right in there. So I'm going to have to watch that again, of course, but that's what it looks like upon first view.
Yeah, at first glance, let you and the judges make an assessment. And thumbs up from these guys. You can see the Toyota Rockstar drivers and we'll get see Ryan Turk. Man, it's a long night, it's a long day, a lot of heat. Let's slide him left for Dylan Hughes or right for Rome Charpentier. Who's going against Ryan Turk? Dylan Hughes. Sometimes that's when mistakes are made too. If you kind of just pedal back and detune too much, that's when you just make a simple mistake. But look at this, Ken Gucci goes for it already out of the gate. Inactive chase, nope, not the case. As Jonathan Hurst, you can see, almost gets out to that second outside zone, into that third outside zone goes Jonathan Hurst, and you got to think this is good practice for Ken Gucci. You know, you kind of want to test your equipment to make sure, because guess what? He is going against Masayama Watoro in, you know, given that he will get the victory here after the incident. Nothing crazy or out of line here. So Gucci will be getting the victory and advancing on. But let's take a look at it from the overhead.
Looking at what Hurst was able to put together in the lead there. Nice line through outside zone 1. Gucci is not on the right line, but then works his way out there. You can see there Hurst gets in very beginning of outside zone 2, but leaves it, and Gucci follows him around there outside of the zone. Gucci's doing a good job of mimicking here the line, and then you can see Hurst near the end of outside zone 4, works his way into outside zone 4, and Gucci follows him in there as well.
Let's make it official. Slide him left for Gucci, right for Hurst. And Kenshiro Gucci gets the win and will advance on. We have our grade 8 established now, our Link ECU.
Better predict the movement of that lead car.
So Federico going door to door, and we'll see if he paces him properly. Because and Fedi goes off to the right. So, all right, what happened there? Kazuya, excuse me, Fedi. Please don't have any lubricants bringing on track. So Kazuya Taguchi did need to finish out the entirety of the course. Kind of looking at what's going on here with Federico Sharifo. And what happened there? You know, is that I don't want to say instant karma, you know, again, Federico Sharifo, that's what Yves Meyer did. You know, when he went against him, he went off almost identical spot. What happened here? What do you think?
Yeah, you can see Federico, looks like he just understeers off the track. The front end may have washed out. The rear end may have gripped up too much right there. Maybe the car lacked power at that point. Maybe there was an engine issue. Many different things could have occurred there. It just looks like he stopped drifting, and you know the motion of the car was going that way. So the car straightened up and he went off track a little bit there. So maybe this view will give us a little more insight. So you can see he never really gets the car fully initiated, and the car just sort of drives off the track. So yeah, it could be a power delivery issue, it could be a front end grip issue as well. And he managed to save it from going into the wall, and it looks like someone's having a talk with him over there now. So maybe we'll get a little bit of insight.
Federico is calling his NGK competition timeout.
Yeah, so it seems like there is a bigger issue there than simply the front end washing out. There may be a bigger problem, and they're going to take it back to their pit area and they're going to have a look at it.
So Kazuya Taguchi will pull off, but not using that competition timeout. Fedi pulls off. An issue with his vehicle. Yep, NGK competition timeout, and NGK, thank you for their support. As what is this talk all about? High ignitability. Yeah, high ignitability is the ability of a spark plug to maximize combustion efficiency for the most complete fuel burn, and NGK is leading the way. Modern engines demand simultaneous precision and durability to achieve uncompromised performance. Special tips, precious metals, and NGK know-how converge to create a high ignitability plug to deliver a quicker throttle response, smoother idle, and better cold start. So if you don't want to be left at the starting line or out in the cold, choose NGK high ignitability spark plugs. They're lit. NGK spark plugs and coils, better together. We are seeing Matt Field in that Pedal Commander burnout box, leaving that, and Nick Novak. These guys going against each other. Matt Field continues on. And Nick Novak challenging him. The CoroWorks BMW, see Elton right there on his chest. the points on the line, you got 100 points for first place, 91 for second, 80 for third and fourth, 67 through fifth, eighth, 52 for ninth through 16th, and 17 and up. Yeah, and Matt Field is absolutely just, you know, all up in the mix. He's been on multiple podiums this year, hence, you know, being out front. He has not got the win though, because it was Turk in round 1, Osbo, right? Correct, in round 2. Then we saw Dylan Hughes, and then most recently Travis Reeder. So, you know, this could be reminiscent of, you know, we saw Forsberg grab a championship without getting a win.
Right.
And that's just all about consistency. That's about attrition, keeping the car together. Or guess what, Matt Field, that car has not been together in a few different rounds, but his team has worked hard to get it back together. Here we go, Matt Field out front, leading and initiating into that first outside zone. Nick Novak initiating almost simultaneously. Let's see how they handle that second outside zone. Nick Novak, you see him just sliding on in next to that Falcon Tires Corvette, and Matt Field pulling away now into that final outside zone. Field and Novak. Field going a bit deeper there than Novak in that CoroWorks BMW, but the Falcon Tires Corvette making quick work of that course.
It looked like both drivers did a great job in outside zone 2. Of course, that drone view is going to give us more indication of exactly how good of a job they did. So as Matt Field accelerates up to initiation, he does a little flick right there, gets the car to angle. Great job for outside zone 1. You can see Nick Novak not filling outside zone 1 right here. Nick does take a slightly tighter line at the beginning of outside zone 2, and then matches Field's great line through outside zone 2 about halfway through. And then as they transition here, you can see Nick does have slightly less proximity, but does a good job of getting through outside zone 4 on a pretty similar line to Matt Field.
And let's alternate the order. Novak will now lead, Matt Field giving chase, and I have a feeling Nick is really going to go for it. We saw him in Irwindale a few years ago just peel the roof off of that BMW and just really going for it. So we'd love to see what he's going to do here. He knows that Matt Field is going to give it all he's got in that chase position. But how is Matt Field going to handle Novak, who we've seen really shine? So you got kind of these peaks and valleys where Novak has had kind of some struggles, some gremlins, but then here he is now in the grade 8. Can he go past our current points leader? He needs to throw down one heck of a run, and he needs Matt Field to make a mistake. But it has happened before, and Field would love to continue his success, get on the box again, and of course try to get that top spot. Nick Novak in that first outside zone. He's got the proximity. Field in the chase position. Now into that second outside zone. Good proximity by Field. Novak just a bit short, and now into that third, and now into the final outside zone. Good job by Novak. You can see Field proximity almost riding that Falcon tire into the door of the BMW. And a great angle there with our FPV throwing the horns, the Momo glove out the door.
All right, so Nick Novak in the lead position here as he gets his car to initiation. Nice little flick there. Matt Field not in outside zone 1. It looked like Novak left outside zone 1 a little bit early. Novak was sort of right on that inside line of outside zone number 2. Field was right there with him. Same thing through outside zone 3 as they transition for 4 here. You can see Nick starts to over-rotate there and pulls angle out just before the finish line. So I think it was a little bit of an error there on Nick Novak's part at the very end of the track at the finish line. The way he started unwinding the car, I don't think he quite went straight over the finish line, but definitely over-rotated in zone 4 and then had to pull some angle out so he didn't spin.
So a great effort by Nick Novak, but unfortunately just not enough. Congratulations to Nick Novak and the CoroWorks BMW. Tyler, love you. GR86, he advances on. He's going to the final 4 in his new car that got debuted at round 2, and here we are at round 5. Can he take it to the top? He's going to go against either Dylan Hughes or Ryan Turk. Let's take a listen to the OG, Ken Gucci.
Really good.
Yeah.
All right, well, as Ken Gucci finishes advances on, let's throw it down to Lorette Nickel, who's with the Beast from the Bay. Session for Matt Field and his spotter, Chow, to get some insight on what Kazuya Taguchi is doing, how he's doing it, and what and how it's going to go down. Here we go. Let's listen. Up garage, ISR Performance, 86. Kazuya Taguchi. And there is Kazuya Taguchi during the elements. But, you know, thank you so much to the fans. Thank you so much to the sponsors. Thank you so much to the teams. And, of course, the drivers. Formula Drift, Ken Gucci, 2019 Irwindale. That's when he got that win. And right now, here we go. We got Dylan Hughes out front. Ryan Turk. Dylan Hughes qualifying third. And look at that right there. Look at Ryan Turk banging on the door of the dozer. Now the second outside zone. Dylan Hughes brings it all the way out, allowing Ryan Turk with that proximity, that angle, that hot hatchback. Let's see if he gives him room to pass, and he does. Was it enough, or was it too much? Excuse me. And in that final outside zone, you saw how close he was. It looks like he was going to just nick the nose of that Toyota GR Corolla. Ends up just giving enough room, but you saw how much he had to back off. So being in that pocket, it looks cool, but you have that one more transition and transfer. Walk us through it, Ryan.
Yeah, this view, of course, gives us everything we need to see. So let's watch this initiation from Dylan. Nice line around outside zone 1 right there. There was maybe a slight hesitation from Dylan, but Ryan Turek absorbs it well, stays nice and close to Dylan through outside zone number 3. Great line there, but you can see, did Dylan have a little slowdown there, and it kind of caught Ryan off guard potentially and made him have to back off? That may be what happened there. Watching from the truth serum here, let's watch it from the speedy drone, give us a different perspective. Turek is just slightly inside compared to what Dylan was doing in the lead, and right here you can see Turek getting nice and close to Dylan. Now let's watch Dylan's momentum here as he transitions. Yeah, it looks like there was maybe a little something there from Dylan. Not enough to set his decel light off potentially, but it was maybe just a slight lift or something there before the transition. That's something that we talked about big time in the driver briefing. A lot of drivers had some thoughts about that. So let's look at another look here from our ground cameras. Give us a different perspective as we see them come around outside zone number 2. You can see Turk putting on the pressure, about a foot away from Dylan. Yeah, so there was a little decel there. Interestingly enough, we do have some spotters in the booth here giving us some feedback, and we're gonna have a look here at. Yes, please.
Taking a look at different angles here. Just the contact, the decel. It's pretty much going into outside zone 4. So
yeah. So as we watch here, there was no issue through this section of the track as they transition.
Good driving is what it was.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, no issues though. This is phenomenal. This is what we want to see. So let's watch as Dylan slows down right here, and there was a contact made right there, and I believe that there's a concern that Dylan was decelling in the improper direction, which is what we've been pointing out. The contact was hard to catch. It looks like the front wheel of Turek did touch. We can slow that down a little bit, right there potentially. So Turek was trying to avoid collision with him there. Is that
Turek's fault or is that Dylan's?
No, from what we were talking about earlier, Dylan slowed down just slightly in the opposite direction that he should be. So he's supposed to wait for the car to transition for zone 4 before decelling. And we're gonna have one more look here, and it felt to me like he decelled right there. And then Turek had to kind of check up.
So it's slow, then transition,
exactly,
as opposed to transition slow.
Exactly, that's correct. Yeah, so I think you can see where the car made contact there with the left rear of Dylan.
All right, so what would come into play?
Right rear.
Yeah, that
Right rear.
that right rear of Dylan Hughes, that front left of Ryan Turk. That's where the
Exactly.
contact would be made. What are the repercussions here? We're seeing some zip ties being utilized, strapping on that back bumper of Dylan Hughes. As far as just what's going on, where
Sure.
the story's going. So
A lot of different events
choose your own
tonight.
adventure. Yeah, a lot of different scenarios here. As Ryan Turk looks like he transitions, but Dylan Hughes knows who he's going against. He's got to apply the pressure. Both these guys have podiums. Look at that fender flapping in the wind. Now into that second outside zone, approaching the third outside zone. Ryan Turk and that Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla into that final outside zone. Dylan Hughes, watch this, going to drop in and spins out. And that will just really seal on the flavor for Ryan Turk. And that should be a game, set, match, but a great effort there by Dylan Hughes. Some, some good donuts there, and ending in a great way. The Royal Purple, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Falcon Tires, BMW. So Ryan Turk gets the win officially, and that's TBD. But
Yep.
right now, this is the task at hand.
Yeah, both drivers have their work cut out for them right now. What is this, number 1 and number 4 qualifier up against one another here?
The lights are going on. Let's send it. Let's get hyped, St. Louis. Maybe we'll start a wave if you guys get hyped. Here after the first portion of this battle. Kazuya Taguchi initiates. Matt Field right there, tucking into that GT radial smoke. The Falcon Tires being kicked off at the back end of that Corvette. Great angle from Kazuya Taguchi. Matt Field, good proximity. We'd love to see him mimic that angle. Look at Kazuya Taguchi. What switch did he hit? Oh, as he taps that wall, but he continues on. And Matt Field bangs doors. Yes, sir. Make some noise. St. Louis. That was sick. Look at that. Tapped the wall, but he stayed in it. He hit the peak of the rainbow going to outside zone 4, but stayed in it. I think Matt Field might have helped. I don't know. Contact was made. Let's see. Let's look at it again.
Yeah, what I'm looking at here is how much Field was mimicking what the lead driver is doing. And Field has been making a compromise in zone 1 against a lot of drivers, but there he started off inside, but worked his way out to mimic what Taguchi was doing. Does a good job through 2. Field misses zone 3. There's a little wall tap there, and then Field comes in and taps the side of Taguchi's car, which sort of sends him offline a little bit. So let's watch this again from the speedy drone as he comes through outside zone number 2 here. You can see Field matching very nicely, maybe slightly less angle, but as we come through 3, Field misses that zone, blasts forward as he transitions. There's a little tap, and then he bumps Taguchi and sends him maybe 1 or 2 tires off at the finish line.
You have to think that Field tapping Kazuya was caused by the slight slowing of Kazuya, because with him hitting that wall, obviously every action has a reaction. You'd have to think that Kazuya slowed down, so that's gonna rightfully hit him given the proximity. So watch it again. What's your assessment?
Yeah, the proximity, there was just an ever so slight gap. Of course, Field is trying to dive in. Again, exclamation point, finish line. It's something that we don't look at it that way, but maybe it's for the fans, maybe it's for us, I'm not sure, but it does look awesome, of course, but look at how much Field's closing in regardless. That little tap, sure, it slowed him down a little bit, but Field was definitely coming in quick, and it did push Taguchi potentially 1 or 2 tires off there. Maybe it's a combination of both. I'm not saying it's one or the other, or it was on purpose either way, but that was an exciting drive.
What's going on here? Because yeah, so the scenario now is we need to see who's at fault. Contact was made, so somebody needs to be assessed fault in order to have contact. So while we try to figure this out, let's throw it down to Lorette, who's with Ryan Turk. Who's coming out on top? Who's going to the finals? Is it Ryan Turk and the Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla on Nitto tires? Or is it Kenshiro Gucci, Toyota GR86? Ryan Turk initiates that first outside zone. Now coming in, approaching that second outside zone. Ryan Turk brings it all the way out. Gucci, a little bit shallow, but doesn't have that proximity into that third outside zone. Gucci falling back a little bit. Now coming that final fourth outside zone. Riding that outside line, both of them, 1 and 2, and exploding that BC Racing finish line clipping point marker.
That was a mouthful, Jared.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was a face full. It was exciting full. Beautiful. What do you got?
Wow, right. Ryan Turek, nice flick to initiation here. Gets the car right on the outside line. Gucci's a little bit inside there, not filling outside zone 1 the same way Turek did. And this is Gucci's biggest mistake here. Turk goes wide out to zone 2, but Gucci's way inside, and then he misses outside zone 3 as well as they transition for outside zone 4. Gucci does a better job of mimicking Turk's line through that outside zone 4 area where Turk is wide all the way out to the edge of the track. So you can see there, Gucci's way inside, missing outside zone number 1, and then zone number 2, not even anywhere close. He does get a little bit more proximity with Turek, but of course Turek's got a great run out of 2, gets on throttle way earlier, and Gucci's on that tighter line, so he doesn't really have the momentum there, and he doesn't have the ability to get on throttle as quickly as Turek did. So that was not an ideal chase run from Gucci. Unfortunately, he made some pretty serious mistakes there. No incomplete, of course, but definitely made some mistakes that Ryan Turek is going to capitalize on now as he goes into his chase position.
Yeah, Gucci needs to make like Taylor Swift and shake it off, because he's going to go against Ryan Turek, and he's got the clean air now, and then Ryan Turek, he put it down. So let's go. Let's send it here for the second half of this battle. Ryan Turek, Ken Gucci. Ken Gucci will lead. Ryan Turek giving chase. Again, Ryan Turek did podium in Long Beach. Can he do it again here in St. Louis? Look at Ken Gucci, slingshot out of the gate in that first outside zone. Ryan Turek, we know that he can have the proximity. We saw it earlier from him. And there is Ken Gucci getting out to that second outside zone. Look at the nose of that GR Corolla diving in on the GR86. An all Toyota battle. Who's coming out on top? Whoa. And Ken Gucci rotates, contact made. Hopefully just cosmetic, but that looked independent, unfortunately. Just quick glance, that's my quick assessment. Just look with my naked eye. I said, that guy spun. It looked like he didn't have contact until there was.
Great assessment, Jared. Love the energy.
I looked down, I saw 5, and I said 5.
So Gucci maybe has more damage again to his car than we thought initially there. He is sort of driving off, so maybe his car is okay. Maybe he was just waiting for approval to move, as we do ask them to do that, just so we don't have a mess all over the track, But it seems like he's able to drive away.
There he is, still throwing the shock of the thumbs up. Regardless, still good spirits. He's going by Ryan Turek. He knew he spun.
Yes.
And you can hear the remix there. As we take a look, the Truth Serum, go and take a big gulp of that and see what goes on with Gucci and Turek.
So initiation, you see Gucci get out wide there. Nice. Turek catches up really fast. It's almost like he knew he was going to be a little quicker there, gave him a little gap. And then Turek really close here. Great proximity, a little less angle there, but really maintaining that proximity is Turek in the chase position. And on the transition here, Turek sees him start to spin, but he's on throttle. He's too close. There's nothing he can do. So he just bumps into him and keeps going. But it looks like his car is just fine.
Yeah, he just got a little facade, just knocked out his front grills. All right, so, yeah, am I correct in saying it looked like it was independent?
Absolutely, yeah. Gucci just lost traction there, spun out in front of Ryan, and Ryan didn't really have anywhere to go, so he ended up making contact, but it looked pretty light. They should be able to, kind of tape up Turek's car if he needs to keep going again. I mean, that's the assumption right now with an incomplete from Gucci in the lead position. So you can see that big over-rotation. Turek just had nowhere to go in that situation.
So, unfortunately, with Gucci retiring, Ryan Turek will now, let's make it official, slide him right for that Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla Rockstar driver. Ryan Turek gets the win and advances on to the finals. With Gucci being knocked out, he qualified 7th, so there's no way he could podium because both Taguchi and Field qualified higher than him. So, unfortunately, Kenshiro Gucci, with the debut of that car in Atlanta, just a bit outside. He will receive 4th place, the same points as 3rd place will get, just unfortunately, no carbon fiber hardware. We will finish out the second half of that battle as he drives past Matt Field. Will that be his competitor? or will it be the gentleman that's in the box? Put my Taguchi in a box because he's already in there. So Taguchi and Field. Field makes his way to the start line. Now remember, this is the second half of this. Field will now lead, Taguchi giving chase. Contact, both at fault. Both use their competition timeout. No more competition timeouts. So let's refresh our memories. This is what transpired on the first run. Ryan, walk us through it.
As we get the initiation done here, you can see Taguchi doing a great job in the lead there, filling outside zone 1. I think Field was off a little bit, but then got online right through outside zone 2 here. Field's doing a really good job of mimicking Taguchi's line. Outside zone 3, you can see that Field was inside quite a bit there, not really filling it. Then there was a tap on the wall from Taguchi, and Field was coming in pretty hot, tapped him as well. So the shared fault goes to both of them, of course. Taguchi was deemed slowing down a little too much there, perhaps, and then Field was deemed coming in a little too hot, and both errors combined to give them a shared fault, which forced both of them, if they wanted to look at their cars, to call their competition timeouts, and I believe they both did do that. So now we're on the line here waiting for the next run of this battle, as we have a hare running down the track.
As soon as those lights extinguish on 3, let's yell send it as loud as possible. 1, 2, 3, send it! Here we go. Who's going to the finals? Matt Field or Kazuya Taguchi? That Falcon Tires Corvette initiates the first outside zone. Kazuya Taguchi up the garage, ISR Performance. 86 now into. Oh, big angle there from Matt Field. But Kazuya Taguchi holds that proximity, holds back, tempers the flame. Going into that final outside zone, goes back. Oh, Kazuya Taguchi, contact. You saw that correction and kind of go towards it, but Matt Field stays in it. Man, that outside zone 4 is playing spoiler in these guys' minds. What just happened? You saw him like whoop, whoop, just straighten out and then beeline. That got a little wonky there. Make some noise, St. Louis. Matt Field and Kazuya Taguchi.
So let's look at Field. Big initiation there. Looks pretty snappy. Looks great. He's out in outside zone 1. And just like Field in the chase, Taguchi's a little inside on outside zone number 1. Outside zone number 2, both do a great job there. Taguchi gets really, really close. Going through outside zone 3. Great proximity, great line from Taguchi. And right here, Taguchi just, I don't know what happened there. A little bit of loss of angle, straightened up a little bit, went into the side of Matt Field's car. Maybe this will give us a better view of what happened. So great proximity here from Taguchi, and he's going to build on that right here. Sacrificed angle slightly, but then got right back on it, looking great through outside zone number 3. On the transition, Taguchi gets the angle and then just washes out a little bit, it seems like, and goes into the side of Matt Field. Wow, that was exciting.
Yeah, that got a little crazy there.
So we're going to try to get a side-by-side brought up here, Jared, so we can see each eyeball can have their own screen, and we'll really dissect this as they drive through at the same time on both screens. Gives us a great view. If you're able to divide your brain up and really divide and conquer, you can figure that out.
I'm ready. I'm ready to see who's going against Ryan Turk. You know, just overall, it's been an exciting one. Here we go.
Here we go. All right, so Taguchi leading on the left. Yeah. So a little bit more proximity from Field in the chase through outside zone 1, but his line wasn't as good. Great proximity from both through outside zone 2. As they come through 3, Field was not on the same line there. Ooh, that was a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. Yowza.
Yowzer, huh?
So, looking at lead run, chase run, it's a lot to look at, Jared.
Yeah, it truly is. And again, Ryan, you know, play it again, Sam. See that hair? Let's just go and slice it. Linguini, fettuccine,
do it again.
bikini, slap chop. Let's slap chop this thing. Break it on down. So you can see Matt chasing him down, going in the outside zone. You saw the mimicking angle of Kazuya Taguchi in outside zone 2. Going to outside zone 3, Kazuya and Field. Now watch outside zone 4. So Matt, he goes in, good line. Kazuya taps that wall. Now Kazuya straightens out, he hits him, and Matt gets in the side of Kazuya.
Whew.
All right, well, let's go to the judges. You know, these pro spec and pro rounds kick off Thursday, qualifying 32. Let's slide them left to right. Left for Kazuya, right for Matt Field. One more time, and there it is. They are going at it again. Now, keep in mind, neither of them have one of this one more time battle. Are we going to have a winner? Let's send it. Kazuya Taguchi, Matt Field, who's going against Ryan Turk in the finals. Kazuya Taguchi, up garage, ISI Performance, Toyota 86, coming to that first outside zone. Wow, Matt Field right there, mimicking with that teal and blue shadow. Has to back off just a little bit. That might be a wise approach. Oh, he gets into that. Oh, man. Gets to that berm and that rumble strip quite a bit. That is a rumble mountain in coming into that. And now into that final outside zone. Oh, boy. Well, gets into the chain link. Oh, boy. All right, from the top rope comes Matt Field. So, yo.
What happened?
Thumbs up from Kazuya Taguchi. And you know what? Matt Field says, you know what? I've taken enough of this. I've taken all these hits. I've taken enough of this because if you can recall back to Long Beach, that's how it's been kicked off. And Kazuya Taguchi taking that hit. Now, this is where who's at fault. We saw Matt Field, great proximity, dropped in. He backed off, and it seemed that he went up, but let's take a look at it again. That was that first glance, knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, it looked like Field got lost in the smoke and ended up on the rumble strip, maybe a tire or two off in the grass. Taguchi had a great initiation, and Field was right there with him. That was fantastic, but Field ended up on the rumble strip. Ooh, that might have been 3 tires off in the grass, unfortunately. So the run for Field may have been over right there, but then he comes into the game right here and drives into the side of Taguchi, sending him into that fence. So we're going to have to watch this from a few different angles. As you see Matt Field here getting almost ahead of him there, and then getting 1, 2. That did look like 3 tires in the grass. And then, so that's interesting. If the chase driver incompletes, but then comes and knocks the lead driver off course before the lead driver has a chance to finish the course. This is a little bit of a tricky situation that we're in now, and we may have to watch this a few more times to really take it all in. So much is happening here at the same time. You need to look at what the lead driver's doing, and then you need to look at what the chase driver's doing. So let's analyze this again from a different perspective. The ground cameras that we have. That was a lot. The important part here, of course, is outside zone number 4. So Taguchi gets slowed down, which is totally legal right there. It looked like Field came in pretty aggressively and just didn't have the ability to slow down. Again, trying to put that exclamation point in outside zone number 4. So nobody has a competition timeout, but it sounds like the majority of judges,
yourself included, or no?
Well, it doesn't really. Okay, so it's not that it doesn't matter, but if the other 2 judges gave fault to one driver, then the majority has already been assessed.
Right.
And since I'm flapping my gums over here, I guess they just figured they have 2 judges' verdicts in already in terms of fault. So it looks like Field was at fault, and that means that because Taguchi is not at fault, he doesn't have to call a competition timeout.
Well, he doesn't have one.
Right, exactly. Neither one of them have one, but he is allowed to go look at his car because it's not his fault.
Right.
So that's what's occurring right now. Field, since he does not have a competition timeout, was on the start line.
He has to sit and wait.
Yeah, I think he's back at the burnout box. So once Taguchi does come back, he can warm his tires up before he gets back on the start line. But yeah, Taguchi is over there now. The team will look at the car and make sure that it is good. It just got smashed into by a Corvette and then smashed into a fence. So you have to assume that they'd want to look at it. That makes total sense, right, in this situation?
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, sense that he would obviously. So, this is what we're looking at now. Keep in mind, only 10 minutes. He has 10 minutes to look at the vehicle. So, again, that hit. But like I was saying, all joking aside, Matt Field has taken quite a few blunt force traumas to his Falcon Tires Corvette. So just being aggressive, I think it makes it exciting. They know what's at stake. Matt Field's leading the points. He needs to maintain that heat. So, all right. So we will see Kazuya Taguchi. He is guaranteed, obviously, not guaranteed, but he will have lesser points than Ryan Turk because he won't go to the finals. He'll get the 3rd and 4th place points as opposed to either 2nd or 100 points for 1st, which does shake things up. So Ryan Turk has already slid into 3rd place. Let's send it. Here we go, the second half of this battle. Matt Field now at front, Kazuya Taguchi in the chase position. You see that thing with a little Elvis Presley lip snarl there. Now coming to that second outside zone, Kazuya Taguchi, he almost gets up under the rumble strip into that second outside zone. Kazuya Taguchi goes deeper, but he doesn't need to mimic that line of Matt Field. Look at Kazuya Taguchi dropping back quite a bit. Now Matt Field, he's putting the car in all the right places. I'm telling you right now, look at that, right just outside of the outside zone. But is that enough to offset that contact being made? Make some noise for him. Kazuya Taguchi and Matt Field, a great run. All right, so Lontaine, taking a look at that. Your knee-jerk thoughts as we take a look at the instant replay.
You're right about Field putting the car in the right places here. He gets the car initiated nicely, and then you can see in the chase position, Taguchi is there. It looks like Field maybe was a little bit slower through that section than Taguchi would have expected. And we know that there may be some damage to Field's car a little bit, but he seems to be doing fine. Maybe he was a little tentative there at the beginning because he wasn't sure, but in the latter half of the course, he was on throttle, he was pushing pretty hard, he was making it look pretty good. So the unfortunate thing is Field, in my eyes, has an incomplete on the first run based on the fact that he hit Taguchi and knocked him off course.
Who's going to the finals, Taguchi or Field? And Kazuya Taguchi is going to the around the world FD fans, hashtag FDSTL, a long, hard-fought, treacherous battle. And we are ready to send a Matt Soap on a rope, keeping it clean on the start line. Thumbs up from the drivers. The Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla of Ryan Turk going against the Up Garage ISR Performance 86, our #1 qualifier. Can he make this a perfect bet? Can he get his first ever Performance Chip win? Kazuya Taguchi going to that first outside zone. We got the slide bananas into that first outside zone. Oh, so sweet. Into that second outside zone goes Kazuya Taguchi. Big, nice wall tap. As Kazuya Taguchi now goes to that third outside zone. Ryan Turk giving himself a little bit of room. Let's see how he sets himself up for that final outside zone. And no, he comes up short. Kazuya Taguchi. Oh, we got contact with Ryan Turk.
Wow. What's up with that outside zone 4?
Outside zone 4 has just been the absolute insano.
That is the danger zone right there. Outside zone 4.
Dude.
Never know what's going to happen.
Maverick, Iceman, all of them, man.
So it looked like Ryan Turk fell behind. He has a debeated tire
flat
in
back
the rear.
Right. Is that how this is going to end?
Whew.
Is that what's cracking right now? You got a back right flat. We got, and does Turk have a competition timeout? Let's take a look. Does Turk have a comp timeout? He does have an NGK competition timeout.
Whoa, look at that.
Oh, that back
rear.
left.
That car has been through a lot today, Jared.
Man. I feel like he took on the energy of Matt Field being the pinata. Kazuya Taguchi slides.
That looks like a lot of repairs right there.
So Ryan Turk does have that competition timeout if he needed to call it. And also Taguchi, he took that hit. And by first look, it looked like he definitely was at fault. But yeah. Mickey Andrade, how we doing, homeboy? From throttle.com. What's cracking? Let's take a look at it again.
Great initiation from Taguchi here. You see Turk right there with him. Pretty good proximity as they transition right here. Taguchi does a little wall tap. He bounces off the wall, but it doesn't really disturb him very much. Turk's right there with him. They're on throttle. Turk's in the smoke as they transition for outside zone 4. Turk's on the inside, and then he gets on the throttle, comes to the back of Taguchi. Taguchi looked like he sort of got off throttle at the finish line there. Wasn't really on throttle through the finish. He sort of slowed down a little bit. Okay. I'd like to see that again. And Turk was anticipating, I'm sure, Taguchi to stay on throttle through the finish, but since he wasn't, and Turk's on throttle trying to catch up, or stay with him, well, more or less catch up because he was behind a little bit. Watch the transition here. Turk ends up on a really inside line. Taguchi's right there on the outside, and then see Taguchi starting to unwind as he's going over the finish line, and Turk's right there trying to stay close to him. So that could be a Taguchi problem there. I don't know if that was maybe just lifting off at the finish line. I'm not sure why he would do that unless it was some type of issue. So let's listen. Yeah,
You see, watch his hands.
Did you hear his car do a little couple of backfires there, little pops maybe? And he was unwinding the wheel.
Watch his hand. He's unwinding it.
So let's watch it right here. See the front wheels starting to unwind?
The back end comes towards Ryan.
So his momentum had slowed right there, and you'd expect somebody to stay on throttle over the finish line. Typically, drivers stay on throttle all the way up the bank. Some stay on throttle all the way down the bank. So that's let's watch it one more time here. See the transition from Turek. Low angle right there. So yeah, definitely unwinding from Taguchi. So that could be a Taguchi fault. That could be a shared fault. Yeah, so we're going to have a conversation over here.
So Ryan Turk in his Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla, you can see that thing's been beat up as well. And you can see that rotiform with the definitely deflated Nitto tire. He's going to hobble his way back to the pits. Man, what a crazy event. The finals are here, and this is what you paid for, man. You know what? You got the extended version. You got the director's cut with all the commentary. You know when you watch you buy one movie and you get the extra. You know what? Let's go and watch that one. Let's just pop that other one in with all that crazy commentary about how it was made and what's going on. And that's what you're getting right here with these extended rounds of formative competition. Pro Spec Pro, we're just trying to entertain, but also trying to put on a good show. And these drivers and teams are putting on one heck of a show as we're pimp limping that thing back. And you could see already some kitty litter. Let's find out. Again, this is one heck of a party. A couple piñatas, quite a few piñatas. No candy, not so sweet, but you know what? Yeah, it's sweet. You can feel that right on the tip of your tongue. You feel that? You taste that? What a wild turn of events here this evening, and just throughout the weekend. What's currently going down as we take a look at that first portion of this finals battle?
Yeah, during the break, there's a big huddle with all three judges looking at all of the cameras isolated from one another to try and determine who's at fault. That's the first part of the decision, because unfortunately we happen to be at the first half of the battle, right? If this happened at the second half of the battle, we could pretty much put it to close. Now, it sounded like, and I don't want to speak for him, but it sounded like Lantaine's intuition at a closer look was maybe Taguchi was off throttle, and that caused the contact with Turk. We're hearing alternative reads on this and interpretations of, look, Turk was going to hit him anyways. He had shallow angle. He was coming up close. And so then you have possibility that it could be shared. Or I think for what I'm kind of hearing from some of the judges, that maybe it might be enough to give Turk the fault for that. And if we do, that's going to determine the next steps, right? Because Turk doesn't have a competition timeout.
I thought he did.
Sorry, he does have a competition timeout. And that would need to be utilized if he was at fault, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, Ryan, I just jumped in. I'm trying to help you out.
No, I think that's fantastic. We do have an assessment of fault. We decided, was it unanimous? Yes, Turk at fault.
Turk's at fault. So he has to use his competition timeout, which he does have.
Correct.
And Kazuya Taguchi would be allowed 10 minutes maximum.
Exactly.
Because he did use the comp timeout.
From where the hit happened prior to the end, is there a incomplete for somebody?
I think there would have to be. We haven't discussed that yet. We were strictly looking at who was at fault because Taguchi's car was getting to his pit, and we needed to have an assessment of that. It looks like Turk's going to take his 5, Taguchi's going to have his 10. Now, looking at the situation, Turk was so far inside. He was offline at very low angle. If you look at his trajectory, we don't even think he would have stayed on the track had Taguchi not been there. He would have shot off the track before the finish line, potentially going 4, maybe 3 wheels off with that trajectory, which is totally wrong. That's not what the intention of that chase position is supposed to be. Taguchi was online. He did not straighten before the finish line. He was unwinding slightly, but he was not straight before the finish line.
Walk us through this right here, because I think this is what a lot of the fans are looking at. So we do see what you're talking about with Turk. Now, Taguchi is crossing the finish line right now, and Turk hits him right before the finish line.
Yeah.
You could argue that maybe he was rotating in that action and that perhaps there might be an incomplete for Turk because he doesn't finish under control, but Taguchi had kind of gone past the finish line and maybe he's in better shape there. I mean, clearly he's in better shape because you guys have given Turk the fault.
Yeah.
But maybe there's another negative step that happens to Turk's plan in this situation.
I think it would be safe to say that Turk would get an incomplete there. He didn't go over the finish line in drift. He spun over the finish line, and it was a clear situation. After watching the replay and talking through it, you can see his line is wrong. You can see that his approach to the finish line.
It was a beeline. It
was a beeline.
He didn't get into that outside zone till the last third. But I want to kind of play devil's advocate. Would that be? I mean, it didn't seem. It seemed like I didn't think he was going to go totally off track. It seemed like an Eve Meyer kind of line where you're kind of like flirting with 3 off. He definitely would have crossed the finish line and gone up on the bank. It was the wrong line.
It was not the appropriate line at all. Taguchi was on line perfectly.
Yes.
Turk was offline, definite beeline. You know, we've talked about this exclamation point at the finish line. You want to be close. You want to, you know, kind of finish the run close in proximity. But Turk went about it the wrong way with that line. And, you know, the way we looked at it, it did look like he was going to go off course at that point if Taguchi wasn't there. Taguchi kind of caught him in a sense right at the finish line. And, you know, Taguchi was slightly unwinding the wheel, but he wasn't straight, so he didn't incomplete. And there was still smoke coming off. It looked like he was still on throttle, potentially slowing slightly, but I don't think what Turk did was, or what Taguchi did was deserving of the hit that he received from Turk. That was totally out of the norm, let's say, for what was happening on track.
All right, thank you for the clarification. As Ryan Turk, we could see him right before that Pedal Commander burnout box. Let's throw it down to Rhett Nickel, who's with Kevin Wells.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm running after Kevin Wells. He just left Ryan Turk's pit. Now we're over to Kazuya Taguchi. So with Ryan Turk, what did you see there?
That one was basically just knocked out of toe in the front, so they just did an alignment in the front, changed the rear tire that debeated when it hit the bank, but it sounds like this one has big damage. So.
Okay, so Kevin Wells and Trey Taylor are around here. We're on the backside of Kazuya's car, and he's talking to his team. He did see me just walk into the pit, and he pulled his team aside, so I will catch up with him whenever I get an opportunity. Kazuya, do you want to talk? Do you want to talk with me? Okay. Right now, seems to be a lot of damage in the back. What are you dealing with?
That looks like the rear subframe is broken from the contact. So I guess we can't fix, you know, from the between 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So I would like to apologize. You know, the spectators waiting. Grade 4, top 4, and last battle, everybody is waiting, and I couldn't show a good battle with Ryan, so I'd like to apologize.
He feels like there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders right now. I'm not necessarily sure if you deserve to carry that weight, but they don't think that they'll be able to fix the rear subframe in 10 minutes. Are you going to look at it, though? Yeah. Okay. And you're going to go with the 10 minutes just in case?
If we drive, we need to change whole subframe. So it takes 2 hours. So I don't think we can drive. We can show our battle for the spectators to judge.
Okay, guys, we will keep you updated as more information comes in, but you heard Kazuya Taguchi. If they were going to change the rear subframe, it would be a job about 2 hours long.
Wow, a lot of information there. Thank you so much, Lorette. And so, you know, I don't know why. Unfortunately, I don't know why Kazuya Taguchi is so apologetic. I don't think that should be the case. I mean, he's taking some ownership, and I think that's grace and that's humility and all that. And I really just don't think that's the case. I think that he had a good, aggressive run. He's taken some hits, you know, between him and Matt Field. I really don't think it's a straight up situation where he was at fault. So I really appreciate the candor and the attitude of Kazuya Taguchi. So what's interesting here is if he's unable to fix the car, Ryan Turk's able to fix his, but Kazuya Taguchi can't proceed. I would have to think that Kazuya gets the win due to contact and taking him out. So, oh man, oh yeah, we're seeing some tie rods here, just absolutely ripped out of that subframe. So that car is not going to be able to run. So we have some photos down there. So I want to bring in Ryan Lantagne, and because I want to wrap out with him in regards to what are the repercussions here, because we have the first portion of this battle. Kazuya Taguchi with such grace apologizing for it, but going against Ryan Turk. So the scenario is now that Kazuya is saying subframe, it's broken, it's ripped out. We saw some tie rods ripped out of kind of the frame.
Sure.
And he talked about it being 2 hours. You can't change that.
No.
So the situation is, contact's made. Ryan Turk's at fault. If Kazuya Taguchi can't proceed, correct me if I'm wrong, that would mean that Kazuya gets the win because he can't progress. It's kind of I hate to reference this, but a Tanya Harding, not Nancy Kerrigan, it wasn't malicious, like that scenario. But I always say, if you can't just take somebody out and boop, I get the win.
Right.
Am I correct in saying that?
I am not 100% sure. This is outside of the realm of the judges'
This is more of a competition
responsibility. Yes, definitely.
board.
In terms of the flow of the event, when something like this occurs, a lot of shirtless men down there right now.
Easy, relax.
We just have
Ripper,
to make
go
sure.
and take your shirt off too.
We just have to make sure that the rules are being followed in the right way, and maybe we have Ryan Sage here that can fill us in a little bit on the information that we need. It is. Wow, you can see all the hand movements there. Drift. I don't know if you guys are watching that there. The universal drift language of the hand movements and sliding into one another and everything. So we're going to see if we get a little bit more insight from Ryan Sage here.
Kev, can I go with you?
And maybe we can get a little talk from somebody down there.
Yeah, we are. And, here's the scenario. The car's on a trailer. The car's knocked out. So that was a massive hit, and it's that perfect storm. But Ryan, this is just how it has unfolded. So we're riding with Kazuya Taguchi right now over to, and it looks like, so
tell Turk to put his shirt on.
Turk, put your suit on. Okay, we got more shirtless right now. All right, skin it to win it, and looks like Ryan Turk will be making his way.
I can give Kev the mic if you want to.
Hey, Lorette, you're down there. Let's wrap out with you. And Lorette, what was hey, Lorette, can you hear me?
Explain what's going on.
Yeah, Jared, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm on the golf cart
I
right
can
now.
see you.
With...
I can see you. The drone's following you right now.
Good.
So, yeah, it's right behind you. I just want to ask you, let's not talk to Kevin. I want to talk about your experience. Your experience down there in the pit. You were down in the heat. Let's be honest. We've been in an ice box up in the tower.
Yeah.
How was your experience today?
Yep, I'm sitting.
How was your
crazy.
experience today, Lorette?
Guys, this was chaotic, and chaotic is the word. It was chaos and amazing, and we have had so many drivers step up where we haven't seen them before, and obviously a bumpy ride on the golf court, on the golf cart. Out here to the front, we had Ryan Turk and Matt Field in staging, so they'll be joining us soon. Again, Jared, we were talking about why Kazuya was apologizing. I didn't feel like he needed to carry that weight. I feel like you felt the same. And I don't know if he knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I think he does, and I appreciate your insight. You've done such a great job. And the fans erupt. So thank you so much, Lorette Nickel, for all that you do down in the pits. We're going to go ahead and bring our 3 drivers down there. We do have a winner. All right, so as Kazuya Taguchi makes his way down in front of the stands, you could hear the roaring of the fans still here. Make some noise for Kazuya Taguchi. Here come Ryan Turk and Matt Field and the Hot Boys on their pit bikes. So here comes the battered, bruised Toyota Corolla. It's up and running, but again, I took a look at some photos that Chris Yule showed me of down there. And here we are, local time, almost midnight. we've been here and we've been ripping since 10 o'clock. Yeah, so
Yep.
more than 14 hours. It's been 14 hours. Yes, we had breaks in between, but we've been here at the track. And in all of this, I hope that everybody appreciates the drivers, the teams, the crews, the staff, the sponsors, Larry Chen and his photo crew. Thank you to Ryan Sage, Andy Luck, Cassidy, and the girls down there. Let's do some celebratory donuts for these two gentlemen, podium finishers, Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla, Ryan Turk, and that Falcon Tires Boral Exhaust Drift Cave Corvette of Matt Field. He will hold on unofficially to that points lead here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And thank you, guys and gals. We will have a podium ceremony over in the pit area. This gentleman made a statement. He qualified number 1. He currently is 23rd in points coming to this round of competition. He will jump up to top 10. Depending on where he lands, we will see after this round. But Kazuya Taguchi has been banging away. We've seen a different podium finisher every round previous to this. We saw Ryan Turk at round 1, Osbo at 2, Dylan Hughes at round 3, Travis Reeder at round 4. Will we see another Ryan Turk podium or a Kazuya Taguchi podium? Or a win, excuse me, overall. We know they will podium. We know they will hold up carbon fiber trophies. So without further ado, let's let you know. Almost the clock striking midnight, not turning into pumpkins, but turning into carbon fiber trophies. Let's announce our podium finishers here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. This is the Crossroads at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Jumping out of his car, 3rd place here at round 5. As he goes in, congratulates his other podium finishers. Piloting his Falcon Tires, there's Mrs. Field, Matt Field, his wife. 3rd place at the Falcon Tires. Corvette, Drift Cave, Boral Exhaust, Heat Wave, Momo, C4 Star Wheels, make some noise. 3rd place here in St. Louis, Matt the Beast from the Bay Field. And now your winner here in St. Louis, round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Your winner is Kazuya Taguchi gets the win. Kazuya Taguchi gets the win in the Up Garage ISR Performance Toyota Jerry Yang Racing 86. There it is. Again, from 23rd to 1st place, the 1, 2, and 3 all make sense. And Kazuya Taguchi gets the victory. Kazuya Taguchi slides on in and gets the win. And lifting him up is Matt Field, and that means 2nd place goes to the Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla on Nitto Tires, Race Services own, the rock star that is Ryan Turk. 2nd place here in St. Louis. Kazuya Taguchi gets the win. Turk in 2nd, Field in 3rd. Lorette, you've had a ton of words. I don't know what else they could say to you, but maybe you could get something out of a very emotional Kazuya Taguchi.
Well, I'm going to do my best. Don't go far. Kazuya Taguchi, I was wondering if when we were on the golf cart, you actually knew what we were riding you to. This was your first ever win. You did it here in St. Louis. Kazuya Taguchi, you have been working so hard for this moment. I know, overcome with emotions. How do you put it into words, what you're feeling right now?
First of all, I'd like to apologize. We couldn't show the good battle at the final. I really wanted to show good battle with Ryan. I'm sorry, we missed the schedule so much. And now I still can't believe what's going on.
But Kazuya, listen to these fans backing you up, supporting you again. You have been working so hard for this moment. You have been dreaming about this moment. I think in a couple of hours, it might set in what you have just accomplished.
Yes, I started to compete Formula Drift USA since 2018. After that, I moved here to compete Formula D USA. And me and my team, Jerry Yang Racing, are working so hard for this moment. And yesterday I got top qualifier. That was the first time. And today, I don't know, I got first place.
Did it.
Thanks to my all of sponsorship companies and my team.
Ichiban, let's party!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Soak it in. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Kazuya Taguchi, for his first ever perfect event here in St. Louis.
Thank you so much, Lorette Nickel. And again, just at a loss for words. And like I said, his broken English is absolutely amazing, better than my Japanese, and I'm so happy for him. At a loss for words. So Lorette Nickel, let's go to Ryan Turk. I saw him just FaceTiming his wife and his baby Roman. Lorette.
I'm right here with Ryan, and Ryan was going in, sorry Larry, for a picture with our podium finishers, Ryan Turk. An amazing, hot, emotional night tonight.
Yeah, sorry everybody for not making it a solid finals battle. I was a little offbeat, and it's definitely a bummer to go out like that. But we're happy with second. Good points haul for us this weekend is where we expect to be. And say hi to my wife Shannon and my son Roman back at home. Can't wait to see him tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that you have high aspirations for this season, so I'm very curious as to what this did for the points. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it got us closer barely to Matt in front and to Freddie. I don't know where we're going to land. I'm assuming we passed Chris, so we'll probably be sitting third, rolling into the next round in Seattle, which is one step closer. So our goal is to stay on the podium, and that's what we work for. Team did awesome this weekend, and the car was phenomenal. I just was a little offbeat on that last one, unfortunately.
Ryan, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Congratulations to Ryan Turk in second place.
All right, well, thank you so much, Lorette Nickel. Congratulations again, Kazuya Taguchi, Ryan Turk, and Matt Field. We will give out the trophies down on the podium. Here are our current standings. Matt Field currently, again, this is unofficial. Just want to make sure it's official as far as points go, because qualifying 3-2-1. Matt Field maintains that lead and does gain a gap on Frederick Osbo going out against Ryan Turk. And there it is, the horns, the Ichiban, and the Turk. That is Rockstar. So congratulations. Brian Lantain, your thoughts?
I am just dumbfounded at what happened tonight here. It was an incredible round. So much action, so much carnage. But we made it through. We got to the end. What is it, midnight now?
Yep.
It's midnight right on the nose. So one heck of a day. Thank you, everyone, for your support.
Yep.
The track staff especially. They suffered out there for so many hours in the heat. They are incredible.
Yep. Thank you, Ryan Lantain. Thank you to our staff. Thank you to Ryan Lantain, our judge, Brian Egger, Chris Yule, for enduring so much throughout the weekend. And our fans, our drivers, our staff, our crew. We'll see you guys in just a few weeks in Seattle, baby. Round 6. And then we'll see you back in Utah, and we'll end our season in Irwindale to crown a 2022 Formula Jet Pro Champion. We'll crown a Prospect Champion in Utah. On behalf of the whole staff, we'll see you online, or we'll see you another time. I'm going to go give out some carbon fiber trophies and craft a beer, but we're going to pop some bottles of champagne. My name is Jared Deanna. On behalf of our whole Formula Drift staff, send it, Formula Drift Nation. We'll see you in Seattle for our next round of Formula Drift Pro Championship.